Okay, amazing, guys. Fantastic to be here. Nice to see everybody again, new faces and old. And yesterday, we were having a kind of a brief overview of this whole topic, and looking at some of the basically like principles behind it as well, which are really important as well. Today, we're going to go a little bit more into in a nerdy way into Taoist theory, and we're going to be looking at what I was describing as these energy drains yesterday. And if you were with us yesterday, you would have made this list of your energy drains, and I want to actually work through some of these today. And so who has got the list? Can you just stick a 1 in the chat if you've got at least one energy drain? If you didn't get the 5, it's fine, but it's just a number, 5. So okay, let me just, I'm going to share here's my PowerPoint. Let me make sure I'm getting the right PowerPoint. Okay, hopefully it's the right PowerPoint I'm getting up. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so clearing your energy drains through emotional alchemy. And yesterday we were talking about sexual alchemy, and alchemy, or you can say like transmutation, is transforming something, and we can even talk about things like transforming love into hate, which is really possible, as well. But we're going to look at like the way that specific emotions are alchemized, because love and hate is one, but you'll be surprised maybe if you hear what we transform fear with, and sadness and anger. It might not be what you initially immediately thought were the emotions that you would use to alchemize, or the techniques indeed as well. So just give me a moment. Do you know what? I'm going to just put this Zoom link into the onto the Facebook group, just in case anybody wants to actually join. Anyone who doesn't have the link wants to join. Anyone who doesn't have the link wants to join. There you go, guys. Sorry. So, okay. All right. Yeah. Clearing your energy drains through emotional alchemy. And this is really, really important. And I said yesterday, I'm going to repeat it again tomorrow, because we're going to be looking all about how we can amplify things with sexual energy. That we're going to be looking all at, it's so important that we learn to unblock our emotions. Okay. This is not about getting into this perfect transcendent state where you're like, I'm so spiritual and above everyone else. This isn't about not feeling. Yeah, this is about feeling, because our feelings are really important. And yesterday I said that, that there's emotions are so important, and being able to feel and be in touch with our emotions is so important, because there's a link that goes from like emotions and feelings to desires. Yeah. And Buddhism, for example, it tries to say we shouldn't have desires, but desires are a normal part of life. It's part of the human condition in the physical dimension. And the thing is, the desires then take us to our destiny, and it might be that someone desires to, make amazing computers, and they end up creating, Apple, or maybe they just want to like make the most beautiful, little knitted things or whatever, and sell them to people, or whatever it is that is your desire. It's almost like one isn't better than the other. What's different with the quality is, in the West, yeah, in England, there's so many people there complaining about the jobs, the government, everything. I remember talking to this Japanese girl, and she was going on and on about her job, how she loved it, how important it was, how, how much she was helping people. And I was like, wow, what do you do? And she's like, I sell tickets at an amusement park, right? And many English people, or maybe Americans, would also think, oh, that's a shit job, or something like that, but it was her attitude, and she obviously was helping a lot of people. And when we do what we're doing, it may not be the job, it may be in other parts of our life, but whatever the energy we're putting in there, the quality of the energy is so important. And when we're able to really connect with the emotions, connect with the desires, we're then able to follow the path to our destiny and just find a life that's really soul aligned, where we're feeling happy. And that's what we want. And we want to be the best authentic version of ourselves, because if we're not, you know, what's the point of going through life if we're not being our authentic selves? I think everybody who's here right now knows, what's the point if we're not being our authentic selves? So emotions are so much more than what we are told. We are told that emotions are signs of weakness we need to repress in order to feel good. In fact, these are powerful energies that you can learn to harness and use for your benefit and purpose. And if you actually imagine, in Taoism, we say the negative are very important, and they're very important movements of energy, downward, upward, forward, to the center, out. If any one of these movements of energy is missing, is actually like really problematic for us. So imagine this, you do what you're told, and you do a really great, you got to do a really great job of repressing your anger, right? You don't feel any anger anymore. And what happens, and I've seen this with people I've worked with as well, that they've done all this spiritual stuff. They've done such a good job of repressing their anger. And what happens is they end up in this passive aggressive, resentful, bitter, like superior state. It stops them from connecting with other people. It can literally destroy relationships, destroy marriages. And also, when we don't have that energy, which is an energy that pushes us up and makes us confident, we have real problems with healthy boundaries, and it affects us sexually as well. So negative emotions are only a problem when they get blocked. You got to feel them in order to heal them, you know? So I think anger is a really great example, because, you know, I even remember one woman I was working with, and we start doing the work around, it was what she needed to do, getting in touch with her anger. And she's like, oh my God, but aren't I going to turn into some like psychopathic killer if I get in touch with my anger? And it's totally understandable. When people first hear this, they're like, what is she talking about? How can someone be in touch with anger? How can anger ever be a good thing? Many people will feel that and say that. But the thing is that actually what happens, and if we go back to childhood, where let's just say we are being put into a programming which is not our original programming, and a kickback comes from within the soul. Okay. Now this can be abuse, this can be emotional abuse, this can be, we can be being treated really well, but we're being put into a programming that's not our program. So this energy is rising up, you know, and it's resisting, which is the anger, you know, and then we're being taught, and the more that we press it down, the more it starts rising up. So it can be rising up, and we can go from being all little, you know, quiet and scared to speak up, and then flying into rages, or we can just kind of press it down really well and become resentful, bitter, passive aggression is very, very common. You know, just getting this kind of sense of superiority that, I've kind of, you know, repressed it all, but I don't trust anyone. And, you know, it's going to come out in one way or another. And I mean, I went through this journey because I had this as a child. And I remember my mom saying to me as a kid, oh, you're so angry, you know, like you're such a bad person, you're so angry. And I was like trying so hard to like repress this anger. And what happened was I grew up and I didn't have healthy boundaries. I didn't know how to say no. You know, I was mistreated and abused by people all through my teenage years. It was really getting into like a problem for me, that I just could not create any boundaries around myself, you know. And eventually it got to this point one day where I was like almost date raped by someone, but it was kind of a situation where I was too scared to say no. And the guy should have realized, but didn't, you know. I managed to walk away from the situation unharmed, but the point was I also walked off, and I was so angry and I was so furious, and I tried to tell him the next day I was, you know, really upset. He's just like, oh, you know, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. You know, he said, oh, I didn't realize, you know, and yeah, okay. You know, maybe he should have had the sense to realize, you know, maybe I should have been able to put my boundaries up, right? You know, and it was a huge turning point in my life, because I was in this state of rage, and it was like the first time in my life I was like, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to feel this, I'm going to really find out where this is coming from, because of course I was aware he was a trigger, for something that was going on within me. I mean, it took me through a whole story going back into past lives and everything, but it came to this point that suddenly it was just like, love your anger, give a love to that feeling. And I was already practicing Taoist alchemy at that point. And it was like, I just took the anger and I just embraced it and I gave it love. And I just experienced this transformation and alchemy within my whole body that was just so incredible. And it was like, I suddenly just felt these healthy boundaries coming around myself. And obviously, like, I still had to work on it. I still had to work on myself after that time. But it was like this huge change and this huge shift as I actually started to be able to, to be able to basically get in touch with those emotions. So yeah, this is so important that we actually start feeling stuff instead of numbing things down. And when we're numbing down our feelings, it's inevitably going to affect our sex life. It's going to affect our pleasure in sex. It can cause us sexual problems. It can shut down our sexual energy, or it can cause sexual energy to go into hyperdrive. And basically what it means is we are not getting the benefits from the sexual energy. So yesterday you saw that diagram, right? The sexual energy starts in our pelvis and it should rise up into our heart. But most people have such a blockage of so many repressed emotions within their body. Maybe only 10 or 20% or less is getting up into their hearts, which affects our ability to love and connect, but also the whole entire health of the body, the creativity and everything. So I know you guys know who I am. I'm not going to do this again. Okay. And just to repeat for anyone watching this who doesn't know, like, these are really powerful energies. Let's respect them. They can have really amazing healing effects when we use them correctly. They can also cause harm if we use them incorrectly. Anything powerful is like that. It's like you buy a power tool and it can hurt you, but it can really, really help you as well. And they're taught in specific orders in specific ways. And with Taoist exercise, it's really it's really encouraged by the Grandmaster Mantak Chia, who teaches this, that it's important to actually do this with a qualified teacher. And I definitely did it myself with a qualified teacher, also because perhaps the way they seem to have been written down in ancient times and the way Western people need to apply it into the lives is quite different, essentially because we're very, very tense and blocked up in a different way than ancient people in the past were. So when people start watching videos on YouTube or reading books and start to masturbate like crazy while squeezing the perineum really hard, it can actually cause health problems. And it's not actually what is really the Taoist exercise. So yeah, and just so that everyone knows, this information here, it's all based on the work that I do with my clients. And of course, if anybody's interested to find out more, you can absolutely get in touch and speak to me. So you can, I'm offering like a free 10-minute consultation to people who want to know more about it. But this is only to look at actually your own energy drains and your own energy blocks. This is not to talk about working with me. It's a different call that you would book after that call if you wanted to know about working with me. I also have free resources I can give to people. If you want to know more, just get in touch and let me know about what exactly your interests are. And because this is a holistic path, as we talked about yesterday, it's really, really holistic, which means that when you unblock energy, the benefits impact every part of your life, and not just within your own body, but actually spread out to the world around you. And like I said here, I've had CEOs finding like the benefits felt within their whole company, and that actually their whole staff start working together better once they start balancing their own energy, which actually isn't surprising when you know how energy works. So let's start looking into understanding emotions, okay? Because the emotional world can seem like a complex place. So people think of emotions badly. People say things like, oh, women are emotional beings, like it's a bad thing. But emotions actually really connect us into the spirit realm. in a very important way, but it's something that we need to know how to traverse, and we're not being taught how to do that. So when we lack the tools to process emotions, we end up manifesting chaos. And sometimes it can be like someone's so nice, so good, so wonderful, and they've just repressed so much emotions, and they just don't move anywhere in life, and they're always in this position where they don't feel good about their lives, because we actually need this powerful the powerful movement of the negative emotions, which actually doesn't express as what we think of as negative, but it just comes out as very, very powerful when they're all transforming and alchemizing within our bodies. So understanding the science of emotions is essential to hone your manifestation skills. Emotions are actually pretty simple when we start to understand how we live, how they live in our internal organs, and how we can transform them. We can use intention to build the energies that we want and to clear out any blockages. And we'll actually be doing that today. And we can even use intention to take the gifts inside negative emotions and transform them into highly useful energies. So the organs are transformation centers. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't know. This is super sensitive right now. Oh, yeah. Okay. This is really, really fascinating, interesting stuff when I found out about it. And there's literally what you see on the next slide. It was very hard for me to find information about it whatsoever, but the organs are transformation centers. So yesterday we saw these 3 transformation centers in the third eye, the heart, and the belly. But the organs are also transformation centers. And I'll explain to you how this works. So for thousands of years, people knew that organs created feelings. You know it too, because we don't say, I love you to someone and send a picture of a liver, or you don't send a picture of a kidney. We always send a heart when we say, I love you, because we feel the love in the heart. Other of the emotions, it's less hard to feel them directly unless we know to do it, because the heart is like where our main spirit resides, the Shen spirit, and it's always making us want to connect with other people. And this is very central to the human condition, to just want to connect out and connect with other people. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is ancient knowledge still used by tens of thousands of Chinese medicine practitioners. According to Taoist philosophy, when our spirits hit the physical dimension and become flesh, they go into a state of shock, and then they fracture into 5 parts. These become your 5 spirits, which then go to live in your 5 main organs. And these spirits give us our desires and therefore our emotions. So let's have a look at how this works, okay? The desire, we can say the first desire comes from the heart. And the heart, we call it the emperor of all the organs, or the empress. So that your Shen spirit, it resides in your heart. This gives you the desire to connect with other people. Out of that desire comes love. So we can see that the emotions are actually being created by important aspects of our personality. Okay, but we'll actually see that the negative isn't a bad thing, because the liver are your Hun spirits. Okay. And these are the part of you that manifests your path in the physical and the material world. So this is all about us living and expressing in the material world. And it's really important, because we are put here in the physical material world for a very good reason. Actually, that upward rising of energy, which I call the anger, that's there to protect us and defend us, and to protect us as authentic beings, it's really important. And part of that energy vibration includes creativity, confidence, drive, vision, and purpose. So in your spleen, so we talk about the spleen as being one of the 5 important organs, which is on your left side, just under your rib cage. It's actually a small gland, but you probably heard of people having spleens removed, and that's about it. But in Chinese medicine, it's considered really important. It's referred to as the consciousness of potentials, and it's all about our ability to be in the present. So all of these organs connect with a second organ. Okay, so this connects with the stomach. So we're very aware of the stomach. Okay, this is all about being in the present, having balance, centeredness, groundedness. It's about nourishment. It's about trust. And we can feel that in our stomach. And then in your lungs are the Po spirits. And they give us the connection to the universe and the divine and the ability to see the bigger picture. So it's like the saying, we're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Now, interestingly enough, this, just like very much of our physical path, is actually activated through that upward movement we call anger. The lungs are responsible for the downward movement, which we call sadness. And what does sadness give us? It actually gives us the ability to appreciate, but also to actually be able to open our eyes and literally see the fact that we're not just here as blobs of cells and flesh in the physical dimension. We actually have this whole spiritual thing going on around us, whatever you want to call it, whether you want to be a religion, whether you want to just understand it as it comes to you. You know, this is something that everybody all over the world feels, that there's something going on that's just bigger than us. And this is really what the lungs are all about. And it's quite interesting that at the time, like, of the Renaissance, when everything was going, like, you know, just all about science, don't believe in the, you know, magic and so on anymore, that there was a lot of people like developing TB and so on at that time, because when we have these problems with these emotions, it also has a knock-on effect on the lungs as well. And the kidneys, they house a soul, which is called the je, or the willpower. And this gives us drive. It's also the ability to develop wisdom. So it's like the drive to go and do things, and the willpower is all coming from the kidneys. So I'm really curious. I know some of you are familiar with this stuff. I know to others of you, you might be thinking, that's kind of weird, yeah, or whatever. Okay, I'm really curious if I've got any questions here right now. I'm just pausing for a moment to go over if anyone has anything to ask.
What's a Hun spirit?
Hun. So basically, this is really, really fascinating stuff. And there's literally like 1 or 2 books that you can read in English that exist about this whole thing. Yeah, if you really want to look into it, is by someone called Elizabeth Rocher de la Vallée. She's a French woman that was living in China, and she's translated the let's say the images that are the meaning these things, and to explain what exactly they mean. But essentially, we say 5 spirits, but in a sense, it's a spirit. There's the spirit in the heart, okay, the spirit in the spleen, and the spirit in the liver, okay. Then we have souls as well. So in the liver, in the liver, we have 3 Hun souls, okay. The Hun souls, they are all to do with us manifesting in the physical dimension. Now, when we sleep, they go off wandering and they create dreams, and then they bring the dreams back to us. Okay, so they're responsible for our dreaming, actually. And another really interesting thing I found out is, like, this is why it's really not good to, you know, drink or take drugs and fall asleep, especially around other people. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm sure everybody here has drunken and fallen asleep, or smoked dope and fallen asleep, right, at some point in their life. It's not that you do it once and it's going to just mess you up here. But if you know people that have really abuse of substance issues, right, and what can happen is that because you're wasted, the Hun actually get lost and they don't come back, right? So you can have 1 Hun spirit missing and be fairly functional. You know, by the time you have 2 Hun spirit missing, you're going to be in quite a state of addiction, basically. By the time the 3rd one is gone, it's kind of like you've a bit gone beyond the point of no return. You know, if you know people who've gone through alcoholism and drug addiction, and it just got to a point where nothing you were going to do was going to help them, and that's actually all the 3 Hun spirit have just not returned back to the person. So it's like there's nothing there, you know, holding them into the physical dimension. And the same with the Po spirit. So there's 7 of those in the lung. And I think I've heard that most people have like 1 or 2 missing, but these are all about our ability to basically connect into the spiritual dimension as well. So I guess people would have some of those missing. So those souls are the ones that can go missing. And that's why you have in shamanic cultures or traditional cultures or whatever, you have this whole idea of soul retrieval. It's to bring those guys back.
That's so interesting. Last night I was reading a book by Andreas Martez. I'm about to do the liver and gallbladder cleanse in the new year, and I'm thinking this will have a spiritual impact on me by cleansing my liver.
Because ultimately, like I'm talking about this on one level, what I'm going to be talking about in a minute, you know, because obviously we want the emotions to feel good. We want to feel nice and so on, but we want our bodies to be a nice place for our souls and spirits to live. If the body is full of like poisons and toxins and whatever we're doing to the body, and the souls and the spirits are just going to be like, I don't want to be here. Do you know what I mean? So the physical, taking care of the body physically, you know, there's many different ways: going into nature, doing detoxes, taking supplements, you know, the physical. Yeah. Then there's the energetic, which working on the energetic is really important, working on it spiritually. Like the more that we're creating the body into these nice places where the souls and spirits live, the more important it is. And it's like Master Chia, he says this thing, like he says, so some guy, like he's like 75, yeah, and the doctor's like, oh, you have cancer in your liver, and the guy's like, oh, where's my liver? So hang on a minute, your liver has been 24/7 working for you your entire life, 75 years, and you don't even know where it is, and you're surprised it's got sick. You never once said thank you to your liver. And we're going to go through our organs today, and we're going to thank them all, and we're going to start opening them up. Because imagine this, like when we're in our true open conscious state, when we've not been programmed in the wrong way and everything, you know, we're all just living in harmony and peace, like some people in the middle of the jungle who don't even need to wear clothes or, you know, have any shops or any rules, because they're just so balanced and everything, you know. It's like we're in this expansive state. But what happens when we're taught to contract and repress is like we get in these knots, and then our organs get into these knots, and like everything in the body is just all knotted up, you know. And I personally believe people can live for like hundreds and hundreds of years, but you know, it's like when our bodies are in these states of just being so knotted up emotionally, it's a really negative situation to be in, and we don't want to be like in that. So we're going to go, and we're actually going to start opening up our organs. And you know what we want to do is we want the spirits to all be talking to each other. You know, it's like, imagine if you have the parliament of the country and nobody in the parliament is talking together. I mean, you can make whatever criticisms you want about people in parliaments, but at least they're talking, mostly, hopefully. Do you know what I mean? Well, imagine it's like there are parliament or congress or whatever you call it in America, you know. And imagine none of those guys are getting on. But if you create a relationship where all those guys are just in harmony, they're connected, they got the same amount of energy as well. You don't want too much in one place, less in another. You want it all just nice and balanced out, you know. So this is so interesting you asked that, because this really exists like on different levels. You know, you can just look at the fact of, hey, if I'm angry at my sister and it's bothering me, it's going to affect my ability to focus at work, you know. You can go then into deeper levels, you know, looking at how the emotions are affecting the physical body. You can then go even deeper. How is it affecting the spirits as well? You know, so many levels and other levels as well.
Wow, I've always felt that when I was detoxing, it was so spiritual to release those negative. I felt like I wasn't only releasing physical toxins, but also emotional toxins as well. They was connected.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, I had a few detox experiences this year, and one of them, I took this liver detox, and I really felt stuff detoxing. I'm like, I don't eat anything unhealthy. I don't drink anything unhealthy. Like, where is all this stuff coming from? But you can be breathing it in, or maybe it's on the food, sprayed on the food, or, you know, you just don't know. But obviously it was there and it needed cleaning out, you know. But then I started doing this homeopathic detox, and you know, I like homeopathy, but at the same time, I'm just aware you're taking these little drops of magical energy as well, you know, when you're doing it. But I remember when I was doing them, and I was like going out, and I was like so blissed out with like all, you know, walking in nature with the trees around me and everything. It was just like amazing. So it definitely, when we start cleaning physically out of the body, it's definitely an important part of you know, just getting the body into the right order. And it's with all of these things, it's not like we don't have to be, you know, living off of lettuce or raw vegan, or, you know, if raw vegan is right for us, is fantastic. But, you know, I do think getting like natural foods is basically, you know, is basically a pretty big benefit, you know, as much as possible. But, you know, the body can take a certain amount of toxins, but we have to be working on our ability to release them. And that's also about us being able to release stuff on an emotional level, a spiritual level, and so on. Okay. Any more questions? I know a few people here are new to this stuff I'm talking about. So
only a master can call the Hun spirit back. If somebody lost 1, 2, or 3, they can be called
we
back.
call our own Hun spirit back if we know what to do. If we, you know, we're connected with the body. And the thing is also, it's a bit like, you know, imagine you have a husband, right? Yeah. And you're just a slob and you're like never cooking for him and you're throwing the rubbish everywhere, and the house is like full of rats, and your husband's like, this is enough, I'm going down the bar, you know, and then you're like, clean the house, and then he just comes back. It's a bit like that, you know, as well. Like wow. Kid leaves or whatever because we're drunk all the time or whatever. So when we make the house nice for the spirits to come back, they will want to come back to us. Wow. As well. They know they belong to us, but it's just when we make the whole situation with them, it's not even like, obviously none of this is our fault, you know. We don't, obviously on a level we choose to be born into this world, but on another level we, you know, we come here, we end up in families that, you know, to varying degrees mistreat us and misuse us, and then we're adults, and then we have to deal with that, and we have to find a way to live with that, you know, and we have the ability to find a way to transform as well. So yeah.
No, I know I don't want to live in a filthy house, so a spirit don't want to live in a filthy body.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, for me, even if someone comes around my house and they're messy, and I'm just like, and I, you know, I don't want to like be nagging at them, but at the same time, I just feel it in my body, like, you know, like yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah. So, and I find like if sometimes, you know, things don't feel like they're going right, if I just have a bit of a tidy up or a hoover or whatever, it's like everything just gets a lot better. So we're all good to move on. Should we have a look at the organs and the spirits and everything? Okay, so I know some of you are familiar with this, others, oh, why is this doing this? This is so annoying. Okay, right. I asked you guys to bring pens and papers and preferably coloring pens. Okay. I'm hoping you got that. Okay, because I want to invite you to get a paper and draw these 5 circles right now. Okay. And we're going to start having a look, because first of all, we call these the elements: the fire element, the earth element, the metal element, the water element, the wood element. Feel free to screenshot this if you don't have a pen handy right now. And if you want to screenshot it and share it to your story on Instagram and tag me, I'd appreciate that as well. So we want to write like fire element red, heart, small intestine. Earth element, spleen, stomach, yellow. Metal element, white, lungs, large intestine. Water element, which is blue. And we have the kidneys and the bladder. And then the wood element, which is green, with the liver and the gallbladder. If you're on your mobile device, feel more than free to just snap a picture. In fact, I might do that right now as well. I made this picture myself, by the way, guys. So, okay. Yeah, all the diagrams here, I actually made them myself. And that's me in the middle of like a 5,000-year-old megalithic circle as well. So, cycle of virtues and positive emotions. And you can see that arrows going around the outside because water feeds wood. Wood feeds fire. Fire feeds earth. Earth feeds metal because metal forms within the earth. And then metal feeds water because the minerals go into the water and give the water the strength. So it's really interesting to see how these exist in our bodies, and they also exist in nature around us. So if you imagine an environment where, for example, all you have is fire and earth, like, or fire and earth and water, like a beach, you know, if you don't have the wood in the environment, yeah, or imagine that there's no water in the environment, or there's no fire, no sunshine, no, you know, or no earth, or there's no metal. If we imagine any of these, okay, all of these are important parts of just life, yeah, because if some of these are missing, it's not nice. So you can write by your red circle: love, joy, happiness, and patience. You only need one of them, really, but you get the idea. By the yellow: trust, openness, fairness. By the white: courage, sincerity, and appreciation. And by the blue: peacefulness, stillness, and tranquility. And by the green: kindness, forgiveness, benevolence, gratitude. So this is like, we can say, the one side of the coin. And when we look to the other side of the coin here, we can see like this is actually the balancers. Okay, it's interesting because maybe I should have done it the other way, because well, we are here living on the in the physical dimension, but also on the earth, and the earth is negatively charged. So these emotions like fear, paranoia, and traumas, for example, which live in the water element and the kidneys, the balancing is peacefulness, stillness, and tranquility. And jot these down. When we look at anger, jealousy, and frustration, which arises in the wood element, kindness, forgiveness, benevolence, and gratitude is what balances it out. So sadness, grief, and loss, which we get in the lungs and the element of metal. Courage, sincerity, appreciation. And worry, anxiety, mistrust, and envy. And this is kind of obvious: trust, openness, and fairness. And love, joy, and happiness. And when we're not able to experience love, joy, and happiness, we experience hatred, cruelty, impatience, and pain. And those are the ones that we kind of are like, those are the ones that are really not good, yeah, to feel, because hatred actually literally goes into our bones and like gets passed down through generation and generation. You can see that's actually like going on around us in the world. So yeah, how was this, guys? How is it? Any questions? Any further questions?
How do people get out of the negative cycle of emotions?
Exactly. Yeah, great question, because the negative emotions, when we get into the cycle and when we get stuck in them, that's what the problem is. Okay, that we need to get them unblocked and into free flow. And feeling them is a really important part, like I said at the beginning, about feel it to heal it. Yeah, but let's have a look at some of these Taoist techniques, guys, right? Who wants to know Taoist techniques for dealing with this? Give me a 4 in the chat if you want to do that. So let me see if I have enough 4s to make it worth me explaining to you. Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, cool. So yesterday I was talking about this whole concept that where our attention goes, the energy flows, right? Oh, let me ask, right? When you guys saw and you hopefully jotted down or screenshotted or something these concepts and ideas, and I hope that I invite you, and this is what I get all my clients to do, to draw the 5 circles with colors like your kids' coloring pens, and to actually write all these things down and hang it where you can see it and really get to know your organs, your emotions. Like the more you're getting to know your own body and the organs and emotions, like the better, for in every way in your life. I know this all off by heart now, but I started off drawing, and I think kids' coloring pens is a fantastic way to start it. Okay. Now, which of these were coming up for you guys as places where you feel there's blockages and drains going on? Please type it in the chat, and I'm just going to give you guys all in the chat right now as well, because I can maybe go over like 1 or 2 of these, probably not all 5 of them. I just want to invite you, if you weren't here yesterday, I did invite you yesterday for a free consultation where we will be going over finding out what are your energy drains and seeing what you can do about them. So literally giving you tips there and then how to work with them. This isn't a call about finding out about working with me. That's another call I have about that. But if you are interested to work with me, I suggest to start with that so we can get to know each other. And basically, so yeah, I just put in there my WhatsApp number, and let me also put, like, for book a call, I have an actual link where you can book the call. And if you're just interested in some free resources, then WhatsApp me on that number. If you want to book a call, you can either WhatsApp me on that number, or you can just let me give you that link. My assistant is normally here to help with this, but he's gone back to his village in Nigeria and getting some like amazing Nigerian traditional herbs to help cure his body from, the stress of, I guess, living in the city, which is pretty cool. So, okay, so up here, you need to work on the spleen and stomach with yellow. Trauma, fear, and mistrust mainly. Yeah, so mistrust, traumas in general, they live in the kidneys. Mistrust relates to the spleen, yeah? Sexual blockages relate to everything, but they can also relate to the kidneys specifically, but sexual blockages is all of it. So anxiety, which we can think of as like a social thing, that's often relating to the heart, whereas worry in the stomach, and fear in the kidneys. So the worry, the mistrust. So some of these, if we tune into what the different vibrations are, because we can think, oh, fear, mistrust, is all the same thing. But when you start actually tuning into what are these different energy vibrations, the more you become aware of them, the more that you can work with them. And I know that there's someone here, I think I see someone here who has done quite a lot of Taoist work. And yeah, I'm curious what you think of the way I'm talking about this, by the way. So if you want to share and chat. Okay, so let's first of all have a look. Let's have a look at some of these techniques, and let's first of all look at the spleen. Okay. Let's go back to, okay, because when we think of these negative, and straight away we can, it's almost like if you look at this picture and you're reading hatred, cruelty, impatience, it's like you start getting these feelings in your body, and then you look at this and you go, oh, love, joy, happiness. It's so fantastic, but we should really be aware how much of this is a social construct that we're told these things are so bad, and we treat them like they're so bad. And it's like if you have a dog and you're always kicking the dog and telling it how bad it is, and then it bites you and you're so surprised, which none of us would obviously be surprised about that. But if we have a child and we're like, you're so bad, and we're like beating them, you know, oh, sorry, we're going to go in on a minute into how this exists within the, this is like got oversensitive. I need to go back to the computer shop. Okay. All right. So worry, anxiety, mistrust, and envy. Okay. Let's have a look at what are these techniques. Okay. And I want to actually let's go to this cycle. Okay. And what I want us to do is we're going to just go through and we're going to do the most simple of energy hacks, which is to bring our attention into the organ and to smile to the organ. Okay, so we're going to do a meditation now, and we're going to go through these 5 organs. Okay, this is such a powerful exercise. I've heard of people diagnosed with terminal cancer that they were supposed to die of 6 months later, who've been alive 20 years later after starting to do this exercise. I personally had a client who she's like contacted me, said, "Oh, Jade, I feel so bad. I'm not doing the exercises properly as you've told me to do, but I'm doing this." And she says, "And you know what? I had this cervical problem that was almost cancer, that they wanted to remove my cervix and my uterus, and I was just resisting and resisting. And since doing this exercise, everything's gone back to normal. And the problem had been going on for years." So this is a really powerful exercise we're doing, guys. You know, I definitely recommend it. It's such a fantastic place to start. If you start doing this every day, your life will change in such an incredible way. So let's do it. Okay, so just sit down, lie down. You can be however you want to be actually for this one. And just shut your eyes and bring your awareness to your eyelids. And inhale. Exhale. As you're inhaling and exhaling, you're feeling your belly expanding. And noticing the eyelids covering the eyes. So stopping us obviously from seeing out. So let's turn our gaze and just visualize. And all you need to do in this exercise is visualize. Visualize, turn your attention within. Look inside into your brain. Looking back down your throat. Look down into your chest. And just go to where you feel that your heart is. And smiling into your heart, connect with your heart, sending love into your heart. And as you're smiling there, feel yourself connecting with the element of fire, the red color, and the feelings of love, joy, happiness, and patience. And imagine you're just sending this unconditional, non-judgmental love in this beautiful red color into your heart. Feeling your heart opening, the energy growing. And just tuning into the vibrations of what's present in your heart as you send unconditional love there. And now move your attention to your spleen, which is on your left side, under the rib cage, at the bottom of the rib cage. And you can smile to your spleen and send love to your spleen, connecting with the elements of earth, the yellow color, and the feelings of trust, openness, and fairness. And as you're smiling there into your spleen, feel that that yellow energy is growing. And now move your attention up to your lungs and smile to your lungs as you connect with the element of metal. And as you smile into your lungs, you can feel that the white energy is growing, along with the feelings of courage, sincerity, and appreciation. And as you're feeling that you're inhaling and exhaling, allow your lungs to open and the white energy to permeate into every cell in your lungs. And now move your attention to your back to your kidneys, smiling to your kidneys and connecting with the element of water. And as you smile there into your kidneys, feel the blue color growing with the feelings of peacefulness, stillness, calmness, and tranquility. You can even feel that the whole blue energy is filling your whole pelvis and relaxing and opening your pelvis. And now moving your attention back to your liver. Smile to your liver, sending love, and connecting with the elements of wood. And as you smile there, feel the green color and the feelings of kindness, benevolence, forgiveness, and gratitude growing there in your side. And now coming back to your heart, you can notice how you've gone around and you've collected the red, the yellow, the white, the blue, and the green. And the feelings of trust, courage, peacefulness, kindness, and love. And that you're bringing these all back into your heart, from where you're allowing these energies and colors to spread through your whole body, to permeate into your cells, vibrate your cells, and then to spread out into your aura and gently spin around you, creating a protective layer of energy around you that's going to let in everything that's beneficial to you, but just stop the things that are not beneficial from coming in. And then bring your attention finally back, smiling to your heart. And you can open your eyes and move. So how are you feeling? How was that? I'm going to just take this off. Hopefully everybody screenshotted that.
Peaceful.
Guys, if you want to talk, you can just press unmute, which if you're on a laptop, it's going to be on your bottom left. I'd love to hear from you all.
Yeah, I can agree on the peacefulness, but also harmony.
Yeah. And when we start doing this exercise, we start bringing those harmony between the organs and the harmony between the spirits, you know. And imagine, like, we've had all this tension, and what we're starting to do is this is the first stage of unblocking those knots of tension within the body. And even this in and of itself, like I said, there was this lady who went to Mantak Chia's conference in LA, I think in like the 90s or something. And she'd just been told she had 6 months to live with liver cancer. And she decided not to have treatment and just to spend the rest of her life traveling around Asia. So she went to a conference, she learned just this exercise. She went off traveling. And then she said, after about 2 years, she started thinking, okay, I was supposed to die like a year and a half ago. What's going on? So she's gone back to America to try to talk to her doctor to find out what's happening. And she's got to the doctor's surgery and she's like, oh, is Dr. So-and-so here? And they're like, who are you? And she goes, oh, I'm his patient. And they're like, he's dead yet. And she's like, oh my God, okay, bye guys. I'm going. But I mean, so there's some interesting research that doctors have actually misdiagnosed people and told them you're going to die in 3 months, and the person died in 3 months, and actually there was nothing wrong with them. It's really, really crazy, that when we believe something, how powerful that it actually is, So, yeah, I mean, this is such a powerful exercise. I'd love to give you guys some hacks here as well. Okay, today. Now, you guys know when you're sleeping and you go into this EMDR and your eyes are going all over the place, right? And did you know that when this is happening, that you're actually processing stuff? So that's why it's important to go into the EMDR sleep phase. It's now being used for post-traumatic stress treatment, but the Taoists have known for like thousands of years, you can use eye movements. Yeah. So I want to invite everyone to do something now and just bring the first thing to mind that somebody has done recently that's annoyed you, that's still bugging you, that's making you angry, that's making you scared, where there's an emotion attached. And the more you have a strong emotion, or it might have been something someone did to you years ago that you still have a yuck around it, I want you to bring something, and the stronger the emotion involved there, the better this is going to be. Okay. So get that. Okay. Really, if it's something you're really angry or really pissed off about, or if it's just a general feeling of anger or fear or whatever, yeah, find the strongest kind of emotion you can feel. Okay. And I want you to shut your eyes now. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to show with my eyes open, we're just going to go right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And we're just going to think about whatever it was. Sister annoyed you, whatever it is, okay, that you can bring an emotion up around, which is going to be the most useful. Okay. So 21 times, and then open your eyes and then look at the emotion. And how does it feel now? So normally we do this 3 times. Has anyone noticed anything?
Somewhat neutralized.
Yeah, so we do go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 21 each times. Yeah. Let's do it again a second time, okay? Just get that same thing and just do the right, left, right, left. And then open the eyes again. I mean, it's weird how it works, And another technique we have in Taoism. So imagine if someone offers you like a bottle of a drink with a screw on lid, yeah. Do you ever try to turn it the wrong way? Because somehow we know that off is anti-clockwise and on is clockwise. Okay, and it's the same that actually if we want to put energy into somewhere, we do clockwise circles. If we want to take it out or release it, we do anti-clockwise. This is used in acupuncture as well. This is used in these techniques. Now, let's do a last one. So take this emotion, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to make circles with the eyes. So with the eyeballs shut, we're going to do circles. Okay, 9 circles. You just need to do 9. Anti-clockwise. So you are the clock. Okay. So these are some really cool little basic hacks you can start using in your day. Now, we looked at all of these elements, and each element has a sound. Okay. Let's look at some of the easier sounds here, which would be for the lungs. There's a sound for the lungs, and it's just like a snake. I think that's the easiest sound. Another easy one. This is great if you're feeling angry. It's just shh, like quite shh. And then for the kidneys, it's like the word chew, but you say it like shh, like a kind of a longer sound as well. So those we call them the 6 healing sounds, and they're really a fundamental part of Taoist healing. So let's get on, guys. Okay, because I want to talk to you about this. Lives in your organs. It also lives in the genitals. Once you've cleared out your organs, you can then move on to healing on a different level with working on your actual sexual organs. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking specifically about sexual healing, sexual blockages. Where do the sexual blockages exist? So many people work on these issues with psychology or similar, meaning they spend years often going around in circles without a clear result. Psychology talking therapies obviously have benefits, but they can get you stuck in a certain place. And once you've done this, like I was saying yesterday, once you've done healing to a certain extent, it's time to then start taking responsibility and using this kind of techniques to balance your life. Okay. This can also be painful, and it relies on awareness of events and emotions which may not be possible. So there's limits in psychology as well. Through the techniques that I teach, you can hack straight into the energy field painlessly, avoiding years of therapy or messing around with YouTube videos and freebies, and clear the energy that is stopping you from being you. So my clients often report major results with this in 2 to 4 weeks if they follow my directions. And I played a testimonial yesterday from a guy, but I definitely recommend check out what my clients are saying. It's pretty profound stuff. So I'm going to go into more detail of this tomorrow. If you're not aware of it, I do want to let you know, once we get to a certain point with clearing the energy out of the body, and we must first clear the energy within the body. We should not go working with genital reflexology without doing this first. Okay. Because if we have too much tension here and we start releasing the sexual energy, it can cause real physical, psychological, emotional health problems. So like I said at the beginning, it's serious stuff. Okay. Screenshot this, guys. Yeah. Screenshot it. Share it to your Instagram and tag me. So genital reflexology is the deepest level on which you can release energy blockages and unprocessed emotions in your body. It is nature's way of clearing our body from emotional blockages that you can activate for profound healing. So this is tomorrow. It's going to be about this. Okay. Yeah, once you've learned how to practice inner alchemy, and you know how to, let's say you need to know how to move energy, transform energy, grow energy, unblock energy, and so on. And then you can start working with the genitals. So it takes a couple of months usually to get to a point where you're then going to be able to be adept at working with the energies. And anyways, tomorrow I'm going to go into way more detail in this, but this can really release trauma. And what's the really amazing thing is that when we learn how to use it on ourselves and release our own traumas, and when we activate our own energy field, we can learn how to release this in a partner, even without them knowing what we're doing, just through sexual techniques, which can bring a lot of pleasure, but also basically have this very deep healing capacity to it as well. And so it's like our whole body and our sexual organs become activated to this like higher consciousness and level of healing. This is, like it's a much deeper layer to work on. And men report that their erections become strong as a teenager, but remain in complete control of them. In other words, urges and pull towards sexual release as opposed to consciously choosing sexual engagement are eliminated. So you're not being pulled around by the sexual energy, which is what happens when we have sexual blockages, and we'll go into this tomorrow. So women notice that natural vaginal lubrication is restored, as well as perfect sensitivity and ability to experience every type of orgasm. So this absolutely has an effect on the physical health of the body, but also the emotional, the ability to experience pleasure as well. So the healing is reflected into the physical body and can include restoring cancerous cells to their original programming. And there's a deep reconnection with the soul purpose and destiny, as well as restoration of the inner vision. And this is the diagram for ladies. And it's really, really interesting, because if the penis is just inside the vagina and not moving, all of these reflexology points are just lining up. And when we as individuals are activated, because most people would go inside, not move, and be like, oh, what's that? Yeah. And the guy would lose his erection and not see the point of it, you know, and people would just find it frustrating, and emotions would likely come up that people wouldn't know how to deal with. But once you're activated and you're able to do this and we hold this energy and work with this energy, it's incredible what can be done just without moving, you know, the energy. So yeah, okay, all right. And this is just the process of activation, which is you activate your diaphragms with your breathing, then you open your body to the flow of chi. You unblock your organs and emotions in your body, transform blockages into vitality, activate energy flow in your meridians, practice self-massage to balance hormones and unblock blood and lymph, clear blockages in your sexual organs, circulate your sexual energy to heal your body at a cellular level, become a master of connection and seduction, and then perfect your bedroom skills to create divine, juicy, orgasmic love. And this is what it is all about. And as we do this process, we feel benefits that just spread into like every part of our life. So tomorrow we're going to be going more into the sexual energy. Do we have any questions? Feel free to type or to unmute yourself.
So with the yoni reflexology and the genital reflexology, is that done partnered solely or both?
All of this stuff, you learn how to do it on your own first. Always with the energy cultivation, we get our own practice going. And then from that point, we can then come into a conscious connecting and using it with a partner. Yeah. So it's like through visualizations, meditation, using sound, using a jade egg as well. But it's like we learn to connect with those parts of the body and unblock them in and of ourselves. So the majority of this work is all about us as individuals, but obviously it will have a big impact on a partner and even other people that are in our lives.
So once you become activated in yourself, you may have the ability, if you desire to work on a partner, do the same visualizations and meditations.
I would say once you got activated, you're going to activate them, and they might not like it, and they might not be able to handle it. So you got to be careful. Yeah, I think when your energy is because if you look at the majority of people and they're in this state of shutdown energy, like if you look at people so-called sex conscious, and they're wanting to sleep with so many different people, they're wanting to have these big high-powered vibrators, watch all this porn and so on, and they're feeling like they're liberated. But reality is that, you know, and I've been in this place as well, where what's happening is you're losing your sensitivity and you're chasing and chasing, trying to get more of a buzz, but you're not actually getting it because you don't know how to work with and connect with the energy. So people go into this state of like shutdown, but it's almost like a self-protecting mechanism. When this stuff starts to open, you know, when we do it on ourselves in a conscious way, it can have amazing, powerful results. If you're in a loving relationship with someone, I would say chances are it's just going to make the relationship really perfect. You know, that's all I've experienced with clients, in fact. Yeah. You know, but it's going to make definitely for me, it made me much more aware about who I was letting just even near me energetically, when I started becoming aware of my energy and working with my energy and realizing how valuable my body is and how valuable my energy is, you know, and there's all these people, they don't even know what they're doing, and all they're doing when they have sex is just dumping their sexual frustrations, especially on us as women, because we as women, we are centrifugal. We take energy in. I think that's the word. Correct me if I'm wrong. Men are centripetal. They put the energy out. So, we as women really, really can absorb. Okay, there's a question there. What extra you give when you are going into coaching? Does this mean about the time it takes? You feel free to speak.
You told us the inner sounds and the inner smile were the most important exercises.
It's step one. I would call it step one.
And
How
what
many
else do
are there?
you get then from the coaching?
There's like 20 steps to it all. So I'm giving like a kind of overview in these days about what's involved in those 20 steps. But it's, we go through step by step. It's like, say, 5 weeks where we're learning how do we unblock the body and the organs. Then we start learning how to circulate and activate the energy and the sexual energy within the body, which is another 10 weeks. Then we look at another 5 weeks where we learn about how to use it all with a partner.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This is a really, really good question. Thank you for asking. And Adrian, feel free to WhatsApp me or to book the 10-minute free consultation with me as well. So if a man is single, in order to release pent-up sexual energy, he needs to watch porn and masturbate himself. This is what we are told, right? Going to a commercial prostitute is very naive and foolish way to release and retain sexual energy. And I speak to people who've gone to commercial prostitutes and been traumatized by the experience. Other people have done that and had a good experience as well. But I think it's definitely something that can, you know, men are told about, you know, we talk often about women getting traumatized by sexual things. And I think, to me, just the way normal people normally have sex, to me, is quite traumatic, because I do all this Taoist stuff, you know, and I understand about the energy in my body. But, you know, that's what most people do and what normal people do. Now, there's no need to watch porn and masturbate, because it's like this, okay? So imagine, and I'm going really into detail about this tomorrow, what are sexual blockages? How are they caused? How do we get them in the body? How do we release them? And this emotional work is a really, really important part of this. But in order to release pent up sexual energy, the reason you're having pent up sexual energy is because you are full of unprocessed emotions, and those unprocessed emotions are trying to come out as the sexual energy. So when there's like need to release, to release tension through sexual, which is different from having an expansive internal orgasm and bringing the energy up into the body, which, if you're full of lots of blocked up emotions, is going to be really, really problematic. And that's why you have all these guys trying to masturbate and squeeze their perineum to have a full body orgasm, and it's not going to happen if the body is too full of blockages. Okay, so you don't need to watch porn and masturbate. No, there is another way. There's a way of like working with the energy. However, I never say to people they need to stop watching porn or they need to stop masturbating, because I also think when we have this like a pattern and a habit of dealing with stuff, okay, you know, you look at this, what is it, 12 steps, that people go to 12 steps and they get told, don't watch porn, don't masturbate, don't have sex, don't look at women, don't blah, 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 blah. And 25 years later, what are they still getting told? Don't watch porn, don't masturbate, don't blah, 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 whatever. Do you know what I mean? Don't look at women, you know. And I mean, one of the major problems there is, look, you know, this is all about opening up to love. This is about seeing ourselves and our divine sexual counterparts as just divine sacred beings. The sexual energy is sacred energy. That's what it is. It's spiritual sacred energy. You know, if we're just faffing it out, you know, trying to release on porn or masturbation or other people. I've been there, done that before, because I didn't know anything was possible different. We're wasting the most powerful, creative, healing, spiritual, you name it, energy that we've got. Okay. You know, going to a commercial prostitute, it definitely could be quite traumatic. I can't say I would recommend it. If someone's doing it and it's working fine for them, that's their choice. You know, what this is about is releasing these blockages so that we can get into the place where we can draw the energy into the body. So that stuckness, where we say the pent-up energy, you know, which is caused by a blockage, usually around the pubic bone, sometimes under the heart. Under the heart tends to be a blockage to love. By the pubic bone tend to be a blockage to sexual energy, you know, and what we're doing is we're taking off that pressure and just allowing the energy then to flow through the body, and then learning how to work with it. So one of the techniques which I'm going to be mentioning tomorrow is we actually learn how to take the sexual energy up the spine, into the brain, down into the internal organs. I definitely do not recommend to try to do that if you haven't done the preliminary exercises. The best thing that can happen is nothing in that situation, but it can definitely like cause you a lot of harm as well if you do it partially. But this is just a completely different way of working with that energy. So that was a really great question, because most people don't see, you know, they see sexual energy as frustration, pent up sexual energy. They see it as something we need to release, and obviously we don't want that energy to be blocked. And look, if someone's energy is really blocked and they're masturbating to porn 3 times a day and ejaculating 3 times a day, and someone just goes to them and says stop masturbating, stop, that can really cause them problems in their body. It's not actually good to just tell someone when you're dealing with whatever in your life in the way that you are, to just say stop doing that. You know, I don't think it's healthy when people say. Obviously, loads of people get benefits from reducing ejaculating, not ejaculating. Probably guys here have experienced those benefits, but unless to just do it without, you know, doing the other parts of the exercises. So if you're like, I'm never going to ejaculate and I'm just going to block the energy and you know, make it stuck in my pelvis, okay, it's like, what are you doing? You're just causing an energy blockage, and you're not getting the access to the goodness of that energy anyways. So imagine if you're doing Tao practices and you're moving the energy up, you're making love, you're moving the energy up, you pause, you make love, you move more up, you pause, you make love, you move more up, eventually you ejaculate. You're still getting benefit from all that energy coming up into your body. So this is kind of like a nuanced approach as compared to maybe if you look at like people talking about no fap, or people talking about so-called tantra, or, you know, it's really important to see the nuances, because sometimes people hear this stuff and they're like, they get confused about it, you know, because it's talking from a little bit of a different paradigm than the way that we are taught to think of sexual energy. But when you shift, and this is why I said at the beginning, please open your mind yesterday, you know, open our mind to see things in a different way. Okay, it's super important to do that. So guys, I'm so excited to share to you about sexual energy tomorrow. I'm gonna have the whole day to prepare my PowerPoint. I am just feeling yeah, this is going to be amazing tomorrow. Please try to set in 2 hours if you've got it. Any more questions today? We're not being recorded. This is not going into Facebook either anymore. You're more than welcome to type to me as a private question if you feel shy to ask anything. Obviously, I've given you my WhatsApp number and the link to book this 10-minute call. I'm just going to reiterate, it's not going to be a call where I'm trying to sell you something. Even if you ask me to sell you something, I will not sell you something on that call. But if you want, you're interested to know about working with me, I will give you another call to book, a different one. And then we can get on with, yeah, learning more about this stuff tomorrow. Okay, I'm here for you, Angelina.
Hi, Jay. Sorry, I haven't been really participating. I've been a bit overloaded from another call earlier, and I've been all over the place. I'm probably gonna follow the replay on Facebook. Yeah, sorry I wasn't around much. But thank you anyway.
Tell me. Okay.
I had
Did
a
Oh,
question.
you want to say no?
sorry, I just muted you by accident. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. Repeat, please, again.
Oh no, I was saying I was apologizing because I haven't been really able to follow the session tonight. I was on another call earlier this afternoon, and it's just getting overwhelming. You know, just sitting there, and so I will probably follow the replay. But yeah, I've seen a few, the slides earlier, and
Okay.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And obviously I invite you guys to like participate, to speak, to feel the emotions. Like yesterday, I got you feeling into those emotions, right? Remember, what's it going to feel like to spend 10 grand on a makeover or 10 grand on, working on yourself or something, and to actually tune into those frequencies. And today we're looking at tuning into those frequencies of the emotions as well. And the more that we're able to feel, because it's like this, okay, imagine we're repressing our sexual energy, we're repressing the emotions, exactly what we're told to do in society. We literally reduce our capacity. When you repress emotions, you reduce your capacity to feel anything, nice, bad, whatever it is, okay? But also, when we're repressing this stuff, we reduce the ability of our bodies to hold energy. And that's what this is all about. It's all about increasing the ability of the body to hold energy. This is essential, really, really important that we're increasing our ability to hold energy within the body is what it's all about. That's why we unblock the organs. That's why we move the sexual energy, just because the more we're increasing the ability to hold energy, the more we can hold energy, the more we can heal ourselves, the more creative we can be, the more we can reverse aging, the more that we can just feel amazing and full of energy and full of vitality. And the more we can have like better orgasms and be more conscious and expand our consciousness and be more enlightened, it's just there's no bad sides to having more energy in the body, except that we need to just increase it incrementally, step by step by step. Because if suddenly too much energy goes in the body, it's like if you get a balloon and put too much air and it just pops.
Yeah, I've also been dealing with a little physical pain, so like chronic pain, and it becomes really overwhelming when it's that on top of other things. So it's not just emotional, but yeah, when it's it's quite limiting in terms of functionality and everything. I've actually been to acupuncture session earlier to kind of help me a little bit. But yeah, there's just as much as I can do also with winter and darkness and everything. So I do feel that I, I I need rest. I need more rest rather than increasing energy. Perhaps, maybe there'll be better days.
Yeah, I mean, resting is part of increasing the capacity to hold energy. I feel like super exhausted this week. I think it's just we're in the shortest days of the year. It's not surprising, but in terms of, and this is for everybody, and in terms of this smiling to the organs, if you're having physical pain, start to smile to the pain and send it love. Yeah. The microcosmic orbit is going to be great for you as well, Nat. And I know you have experience with these exercises already, but when we have pain, it's like stagnant energy. And we also say that sometimes we can get into such a state of numbness because we've blocked everything off. And when we start to open up, we can start getting pain, and then the pain moves into pleasure. And it's like we want to go through we want to flow through things. We don't want to be stuck anywhere. When sometimes it's like when we up level, in our life, we usually hit a layer of emotion you know, and when we hit that layer of emotion, if we go into it and we experience it and we welcome it, or that physical pain or whatever it is, if we welcome it, it allows us to transcend up to the next layer. If we're like, oh my God, I feel angry. Oh my God, I'm such a bad person. My mom's going to hate it. Why am I so angry? I'm just so bad because I'm angry. And when we get stuck in the anger like that, we are going to be there and it's going to develop into like physical and mental problems. Whereas when we are like, you know, cool, I'm really angry. Cool. Then we can go up to the next one, you know. And I think for me, like learning to have those emotions and just be like, hey, because to people, hey, you know, I'm really angry. And they're like, you don't seem like you're really angry. Like, yeah, but you know what? It was like I increased the ability to hold energy in the body. So when all that anger comes into my body, I'm like, oh, cool. Give it love, transform it into creativity, feel it, express my boundaries, and just become more confident because I'm cool about a feeling I have. And for all of us, like especially spiritual people, I think it's so important to remember, we talk about self-love, but if we're not loving our anger, loving our fear, loving our insecurities, loving our worry, if we're not giving love to those negative emotions, there's part of us we're not loving. So the self-love is not complete. So, you know, when we start loving those parts of ourselves, it's so transformative and powerful. And you probably notice in your life, people that are like cool with their negative emotions, they aren't more, you know, we all think, oh, they're going to be so aggressive and nasty. But when we look at these aggressive people and people doing violent things, actually, you know, they're not in a good relationship with the anger. Same as when we look at people doing horrible sexual things, they're not in a good relationship with their sexual energy, you know. So yeah, it's all about the good relationship with all these different thousands of aspects of ourselves, you know. And when we can find the main ones and cultivate good relationships with those ones, so those spirits, and I'm going to get my assistant to send you those what are they called, PowerPoints, as a PDF. So yeah, and you should all get replays at some point as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
And this was also on Facebook. Yeah, lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
What's a healthy time frame learning the genital reflexology?
Oh yeah, so I teach it to people in the first like 10 weeks of working with them. Yeah. Within the first, yeah, they can get to it within the first 10 weeks, depending on, you know, because I let people self-pace, and sometimes people want to go a little bit more slower, and then it might take a bit longer, but I would say, yeah, within like 10 weeks.
And through that, are they developing healthy relationships with those 5 different colors we went over today, like the fire, earth?
Yeah, exactly. So for like the first 5 weeks, we're working with that energy within the body and the organs and so on. And then the next 5 weeks, we'll go into working with it with the sexual energy.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? All questions are good questions. There's no such question. It's a stupid question. And if you're sitting there thinking some question is stupid, actually, it might be everyone else is thinking, I want to ask that question, and I feel like it's stupid, because I really think there's no stupid questions. And yeah.
When you say activated, someone or something is activated, does that mean like the energy is unlocked or awakened?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we can say activated and come across as being like pretentious and superior, you know, and that's not what result that I would want to feel, you know. But when we get to a state of activation, it's like we feel like different people, you know. So one of the things I can even describe is like, for example, the reason I teach 5 weeks, I teach all my clients this 5 weeks about how to use the energy and the sexual energy with a partner, was that because when I got to this point of activation within myself, but realized my partner wasn't activated, it was almost traumatic if that makes sense, you know, because your whole body has changed, the whole way you feel things has changed. And just to go back to the way normal people have sex is really just traumatic. I don't know what other word to use, you know. You know, people can start feeling stuff activating, because obviously when we say activated, it's not like there's unactivated people here and activated people here. It's a spectrum, you know, isn't it? And some people, they say they were born. There's one Tao teacher, she says she was born or activated when she was 6 years old or something like that, you know. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I definitely wasn't. I definitely had to do a lot of work to activate myself, you know. But you just feel things. It's like the way you feel things in your body, the way you feel the sexual energy. You go through the process of activation, and I think you stay in that process, and I think you just then take it, you know, more and more and more. But I think that there comes a certain point where it's like, I mean, it's amazing for us as women, yeah, because our sexual organs are internal. Obviously, there's massive benefits as well to external genitalia, right? But we have, when the vagina is activated and it has all these lights literally shining within it, and we feel them like shining through the body, and the way like it feels is just, it's like we feel so creative and so inspired and so like boosted, you know, on the journey. Like, for example, one of my clients that we just finished, or we're finishing next week, rather with the one-on-one coaching of 5 months. And she was saying, she was like, oh yeah, you know what, I was looking over my accounts for the year, and I was finding there's like definite increase in my earnings since working with you. And she also, so she does voiceover on like TV and ads and stuff. And she's now got a job acting in a theater for 3 months, which she never had that job. You know, she never had such a job before, and she'd always really wanted to do such a job. So she's really happy like with the new job. And it's like, whatever it is our thing to do, I think when we get activated, it puts us on the path to our destiny, you know. Like another, the one with the talking about the photography yesterday, that you saw his testimonial, and now he's telling me as of next year he's planning to go full time into the photography business, and that was his destiny. But because it was blocked, he wasn't open to his destiny. And I think when we say creativity, it's such an important part of this, because we can go through like trying to do things, but just constantly getting blocked. And when we're looking at where are we getting blocked, yeah, it's like, then we've got to ask the questions, what's going on with those blockages. And obviously there's emotional blockages, but the sexual blockages that are really big. And once we get those out of the way, like big shifts happen with where we're going, you know. And I also will add there, like I was saying yesterday, you know, trusting ourselves, you know, and trusting the universe is there backing us up. 50% universe, 50% us, you know. That's all we need to do is 50% and meet the universe halfway. And then the universe is giving us all the time what we need, you know. But the programming teaches us to be small, to be deactivated, to be scared, to not put ourselves out there, to not be big, to not speak, you know. And everybody's pushing that onto us, but they don't even know what they're doing, you know. The majority of people, they're pushing that programming. You look at people talk about misogyny, you know, it's pushed on women by women and pushed on women by men. But none of those people really sit there and consciously go, oh yeah, how can I like enforce the patriarchy and put this woman down or put this man down or whatever. People don't sit there and think about doing it. They just do it because it's programmed into them, you know. But as we start going back into the original programming, everything just starts going, oh, okay, wow, okay, yeah, I've not been, you know, the boundaries is very, very important, you know, because it's like, it creates this like a playground around us that we can have fun in our life, whether this be sexually or non-sexually. When we have those boundaries, it's mega. And that's all about the anger coming up. But then if you look at the anger coming up, it's very much about activating the sexual energy. A lot of repressed anger is going to affect the erection, it's going to affect the orgasms, the sexual problems. But then also when it rises up and it comes up, it goes right into the pineal gland and it activates our inner vision and our third eye. So it's like everything's all connected in this web together. And the idea with this is you just learn how it's all working together. You learn how to work with it. So the theory, the practice, and then you learn how to kind of intricately, you know, spin it together to basically like use it and put it into play and practice like in your life. So whatever's going on within your life, how to then put it into practice. this. Got it?
And with that, like being said, with the contrast of the way normal people have sex is traumatic, or the common or the most popular way to have it, with this type of work, would it be most ideal to work exclusively like with somebody you love, meaning in a loving relationship with, or that's a Taoist master?
So you have Taoists that are celibate.
Yeah.
You have Taoists that are certainly traditionally, there are some Taoists that would have slept with a lot of people. For example, it may have been men with a lot of bye guys, we're just having this interesting chat, so let's go for it, right? Yeah, it's a shame we're not recording it, but anyways, yeah, I think you and me
That's
need
recording. I think you are. I see.
Oh yes, I am still recording. Okay, fantastic. Okay, that's nice actually that I'm still recording it. So we should do a Facebook Live or something together, Angelina, you know, because this is so interesting. But Taoism does not say you need to marry, you need to whatever, but most Taoists and what most will choose to pair bond, okay, or be single. Okay, why is that? Imagine this. I do all this work cultivating my energy. Yeah. Someone comes into my energy field and has sex with me and they are not aligned with my energy. And how many guys am I going to meet in the world that are aligned with my energy? Not many. They're going to cause chaos. And I'm going to be really aware of that chaos. It's going to affect everything like negatively in my life, you know? So yeah, for me, I would definitely say, like, you know, I went from the kind of thing where, you know, dating from one to the next was kind of an okay thing to just being like, wow, okay, actually, you know, life partner is that I'm cultivating together with is what is important for me. I mean, I know one of the senior Tao instructors, so I'm a Tao instructor, but I'm not a senior instructor. I know one of the senior instructors was very promiscuous at one point. I'm not judging him, consensually, you know, ladies loved him. He was sleeping with a lot of ladies. I do know that now for the last couple of years, he's in a relationship with a woman and he's very happy in that relationship. So, there you go, you know, that at some point I think he decided to whatever, fell in love or protect his energy or whatever. I don't know what it is, but yeah, so I would just say, okay, there is also a whole history of Taoism, because this is working with energy. This is not about people like Roman Catholics or people, you know, neo-spiritual people trying to be perfect. I mean, there's a whole like a part of Taoism where people talk about sexual vampirism. So having sex with someone is stealing their energy. And I think that definitely, like, you know, I would say if I had sex with an average guy, he would steal my energy. He wouldn't know what he was doing, but he would take my energy. He would mess my energy up, you know. I think that, you know, obviously there is various levels of taking and giving of energy that goes on a normal level, you know, and sometimes we know we can be around someone and it can feel a bit vampiric and it can feel like it's sucking our energy, and obviously like that's not good and that's not nice here. But then there is someone consciously wanting to steal another person's energy in a way that's, you know, quite sinister. And I did actually meet someone that was doing that one time, and I did tell him I did think it wasn't a great idea for various levels. For example, you can charge yourself from the earth, the trees, you know, whatever. Why steal someone else's energy? Because you're anyways picking up all their traumas. But the guy got in a very, very serious accident and was hospitalized and really, really messed up for a number of months. Not long after I told him that was not a good thing to do. So it's interesting, right? That karma or whatever, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, so Adrian, right, you know, and I think the kind of people, obviously, you know, I don't want to, I have my opinions about why people do things here, but my personal prejudice is I think that, you know, two people, you know, you can say man and woman, but it can be two women, two men, transgender people or whatever, you know, two persons pairing for life. Yeah, but let's say man and women, because I'm guessing most of my audience here today is heterosexual. You know, or if you're a gay couple, but you're still using divine masculine and feminine energies when you're having sex, you know, so that sacred pairing of two people, there's something just incredible, amazing about it. And in the modern world, it's like, I feel like love is getting sacrificed on the altar of sexual liberation. And without love, what is sex? It's just, we just go numb. Yeah. We just chase things, go crazy, go numb, get depressed, you know, get addicted to porn or whatever. And I would say, like, most people who get attracted to me probably are more interested in this kind of pair bond for life and true love and whatever, you know. That's my personal prejudice of what I think is a better, you know, situation. Scenario, you know, for myself. And I know I've talked with you, Angelina, as well. I don't know, you know, you might become like a whatever sex goddess who's sleeping with all the guys. No judgment if that's the case, but I can imagine from our conversation that you finding your perfect divine counterpart and bonding with them would probably be like a really incredible experience for you as well.
Oh yeah, my approach is definitely deep with one person, but like you said, the way normal people do it, like integrating within a modern day world. Like I live in Philadelphia, it's a fast people, it's a fast city. People just move very fast. And I've just got a very, very different lifestyle. So I know I'm very unique, but oh yeah, I have absolutely no interest because I've done the energy work. My energy is incredible, and I've done actually years of celibacy. So I wouldn't waste that on promiscuous because I haven't done it already. So I don't see myself going drastically change into my lifestyle. But maybe I just don't integrate with just the modern day world. I just have to, have someone who understands this level of it. It is I consider sex to be spiritual because I know it is. So I wouldn't be.
Yeah, for me, it's like a spiritual thing, like number one spiritual thing. And I mean, yeah, look, people are at where they're at. I notice that especially Americans is interesting because in your country, you have all this sexual repression and religious sexual repression. I went to high school a bit in America, so I know about it. Like that is almost non-existence in the UK, for example. But what I notice is in America, it's like people feel really pushed under by this sexual repression. And they're like, okay, I'm going to do polyamory and I'm going to open my relationship and I'm going to, and it almost seems like ridiculous to me sometimes that people are like, oh, things aren't going right in our relationship. Let's open it up. Like that's going to just be a cure all. And even one of my friends who's very into polyamory, he says, never open the relationship when things are not going right. He actually says that himself, but people reacted when there's a lot of repression. People then go and react against it, and some of it is unconscious because when you look at some of these very religious countries, you'll actually find there's a lot of child sexual abuse going on. And someone's just mentioned here another sex release is raping. And imagine, when we have like so much blocked sexual energy, it can bring people. That is why people are committing sex crimes, because they need to release it, and it's so blocked, and it's like they just need to get it out of the body. So they cheat on people, they rape, they do sex in harmful ways. Like even if you look at average date raping, which is a very, very common thing, and obviously women can instigate sexual violence against men, it absolutely happens, but it's more common that men do that. And actually men have a lot of trauma around sex and a lot of blocked sexual energy. So what actually happens is that there's so much of this blocked sexual energy needing to release in the guys, and they go into like a trauma state. Yeah, it's crazy as it sounds, that they actually they say, I don't know what happened, I don't remember what happened, and they genuinely don't, because when we get triggered into a trauma, that can actually genuinely happen,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I like that you understand within this, it's a lot of oppression, suppression, which breeds, these non-healthy relationships with their sexual energy. So I
Yeah,
would
I mean, if you
it
look
relate- yeah.
if you look at kids who grow up with like hippie parents around nudism and everyone's like comfortable around the bodies, do those kids go off and do like wacky sexual behaviors? Less likely, much less likely,
Right.
they tend to be more comfortable. Also, another thing is, and I'm going to mention this tomorrow, and I do want to finish this right in a moment, but the love and affection and cuddles that we give to children as young babies, it's really, really important to stop sexual blockages and stop these problems, which can include raping and violating other people.
Mhm.
Because when people violate sexual boundaries, it's because of all this blocked up, stuck energy. And I think education about consent is very important. But if there still is this major blockages, it's not addressing the issue without, working around that. So
So is cuddling good or bad? I ain't
is
really.
what?
The cuddling good or bad? I don't
Really
know.
important. The children need it. They need non-stop cuddling on demand.
Okay.
Kids need it. Yeah. Like without it, it ends up really causing sexual problems and like not good sexual problems. And it stops them from being able to like bond and connect and love. And you have this whole generations in the West where people were told not to cuddle their children. And now you have all these guys that are like addicted to porn and they can't have relationships and they can't connect with people. So
Yes, I heard somebody say they were touch deprived, and I didn't know
yeah,
that was a thing. I didn't know that was like a thing, but
deprivation.
it's the
Yeah,
word for it.
yeah, yeah. But I'm going to go all into this tomorrow. So, Angelina, it's 9 p.m. here for me in Europe. So, it's been super interesting. And I really appreciate the fact you're asking all these questions, Angelina. You're probably asking questions other people are not asking. And obviously, everyone's still here. You're really, really welcome. I'd love to connect with you, Adrian and Katerina. I think I never connected with you two before. So, do get in touch with me personally and let's have a chat. So, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Have a good one for the rest of your day.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Been a pleasure. Thank you.
5 a.m. morning in MA. Where's MA? Malaysia. Adrian. Wow. Okay. Incredible. 4 p.m. in Philly. Yeah. 9 p.m. here. So, yeah. Take care all. Sending love. Bye.